Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk about flex slots in Ruby Storm in Modern.
The storm is insane outside. Wait, is it raining rubies?
Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm not talking about. These are the non-flex slots in Ruby Storm. These 54 cards in the main deck and these 7 cards in the sideboard, you are pretty much bought into playing if you are playing this archetype. So the question is, when you pick up this archetype, what 6 cards are you playing in those flex slots in the main deck, and what 8 cards are you playing in those flex slots in the sideboard? Well, these are your common options. You're going to pick 6 of these 10 cards for the main deck and 8 of these 16 cards for the sideboard. So let's take a little gander. You can play up to Strike It Rich. Strike It Rich is a 1-mana sorcery. You create a treasure token. That treasure has, you can sacrifice it and create 1 mana of any color. And it's flashback for 3 mana. This is kind of an interesting card that allows us to invest mana now to get more mana later in creating that treasure token. Also, it entirely replaces itself while storming. While it's not a ritual, the cost reduction from flashback can kind of matter. But really, if you're playing this card, you're investing mana now to not have to pay that mana later on. You can play up to Artist Talent. Artist Talent's a 2-mana class enchantment. This says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So this means every time you cast that non-creature spell, you get to loot, which allows you to churn through your deck and put more cards in the graveyard for fuel for Past in Flames. But also, if you level it up into level 2, non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, which gives the same cost reduction as like Ruby Medallion and Ral. Rarely will level it up to level 3, but it makes it easier to storm with Grape Shot. If a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. So it makes it so you don't have to storm as much if things are going horribly wrong. But if we level it up to level 3, it means things are going horribly wrong. You can play Grape Shot in the main deck to eventually get to, as we, do a crazy storm off and dig 2 in our deck, so we don't have to wish for it. You can play Glimpse the Impossible number 3 and 4. Glimpse the Impossible is a 3-mana sorcery. It says exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, put them into your graveyard. Then create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token for each card put into your graveyard this way. Those tokens have sacrificed this token, add colorless. If we are playing this card, we're playing it for the impulse effect. The issue is it's not that good. It gets 1 more card for 1 more mana, which is not the rate we want to be at. However, impulse effects are really important for storming off, and it allows us to dig farther through our deck. You can play the second Valakut Awakening. Valakut Awakening is a land that can enter tapped. You can tap it to add a red, but also an instant for 3 mana that says put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards plus 1. This is a card that allows us to hit our land drops if we really need to, and then also allows us to kind of throw away cards that we don't need in our hand while we're storming off or while we're digging for the storm. And we could play up to 2 Flame of Honor. Flame of Honor is a 3-mana instant. Choose 1. If you control a wizard, you can cast a spell. You may choose 2 instead. Notably, Ral Monsoon Mage is a wizard, so that's pretty good. It says target player draws 2 cards, or destroy target artifact, or Flame of Honor deals 5 damage to target creature. This allows us to interact with our opponent while digging through our deck with some synergy with Ral Monsoon Mage. If you are playing this card, you're going to play a Steam Vents, just to be able to fetch into that blue though. So you're going to be selecting 6 of these 10 cards for your main deck. And then as far as the sideboard goes, we can play the 4th Orm's Chant. Orm's Chant's a 1-mana instant with kicker for 1 white. Target player can't cast spells this turn. If spells kick, creatures can attack this turn. This is really, really, really good when we're storming off against counter magic or interaction at instant speed, either being able to wish for it or side it in a bunch. It's also insane in the mirror match. It's very good against Amulet Titan, very good against any deck that's casting multiple spells, but really we're playing it to stop that counter magic and make it so we can storm without having to worry what our opponent is doing. Silence is kind of just Orm's Chant 5 and 6. So if you max out an Orm's Chant, feel like you want more, you could play up to 2 silences. Silence is good against all the stuff Orm's Chant is good against besides Amulet Titan probably. You can play Prismatic Ending number 3 and 4. Prismatic Ending is X and white sorcery with Converge. Exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. So Prismatic Ending is a pretty catch-all removal, very good against cards that are either attacking us, like you can spend 1 mana and be able to take out a Guide of Souls or Assault Pride or whatever, but also just for 2 mana, we can take out Damping Sphere, we can take out Rest in Peace, these cards that are very, very good against us. It's like catch-all anti-hate. You play up 2 Wrath of the Skies. Wrath of the Skies is a white X sorcery. You get X energy. Then you may pay any amount of energy, destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value less than or equal to the amount of energy paid this way. So this is a really good board wipe, but also amazing hate for enchantments and artifacts. You can play a Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle is a 2-mana Merfolk wizard. It's a 1/3. When this creature enters, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So again, if you're playing Thassa's Oracle, you got to make sure you have access to blue mana in the main deck. But basically, this is like an alternate win condition. If you like dig all the way through your deck and you don't really have much left, and you have very few cards left in your deck, or you're worried about your opponent consigning your storm trigger or something like that, you can just wish for Thassa's Oracle and be able to put it on the battlefield after you've gone through your entire deck and win the game. You play up to 2 Brotherhood's End. It is a 3-mana sorcery. Choose one. Brotherhood's End deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, or you destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Very good artifact hate, decent board wipe that can take out a lot of the scary stuff in Zoo. You can play an Empty the Warrens. Empty the Warrens is a 4-mana sorcery. Create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, and it has Storm. So the reason you would play this is if your opponent has hexproof or anything like that, you can just like empty the Warrens instead of grape shotting. So then the following turn you can just attack for lethal, which is kind of neat. Stormscale Scion, however, was recently printed in Dragonstorm, and it's kind of like slowly replacing Empty the Warrens. We'll see if it'll do that long term, but it's a 6-mana 4/4 with flying. It says other dragons you control get +1/+1, and it has Storm. So if you can pay that 6 mana after you storm off, you can play a Stormscale Scion and just get a bunch of massive flyers rather than a bunch of really small goblins, and that might be better because it's a little harder to wipe them away. You play Ral Crackling Wit. Ral Crackling Wit is a planeswalker, starts at 4 loyalty. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter on Ral's. +1 is create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. -3, draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. As -10 is draw 3 cards, you get an emblem with instant sorcery cards you cast have Storm. So that last thing is neat, like if we can ever get to it, but really this is just an alternate win condition against decks that can answer our primary win condition reasonably easy. We play another Wear Tear. Wear Tear is great artifact, enchantment, hated instant speed. Not much else to say about that. And then we can play Flage. Flage, it does something really similar to what Ral does, but Flage Titan of Fire Fury is a 3-mana 6/6. When it enters, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Whenever Flage enters or attacks, it deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life, and you can escape it for 4 mana and exiling 5 other cards from your graveyard. So this is a great thing to wish for if you like need to remove something and gain life, but also it's mostly a secondary win condition similar to Ral, being able to escape Flage, because we're casting so many spells, we can escape Flage pretty easily and just be able to attack. So you're going to be selecting 8 of these 16 cards for the sideboard and 6 of these 10 cards for the main deck, and then you have your very own but stock version of Ruby Storm in Modern. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.